it seems like it's some sort of an attitude on the world that language enables. Right. And I think that the two things, I think even the ability to perceive the world is so intertwined with our linguistic habits that, like, I remember one of the first papers I wrote in my master's was about these experiments of color perception with some African tribes, because there are some African tribes where they don't have a word for the blue-green color boundary. So like that line, and you can give them like a circle of like 12 squares, and they'll have one that's slightly more blue than green. Yeah. And they won't be able to see the difference, but then like Westerners will notice which one's different right away. And similarly, like this tribe they cut up the green boundary, like on the spectrum somewhere where we don't. And like, you can show us a bunch of circles. I've seen it and I can't tell which one is different than the others. One of them is slightly off, but they can see that. So like I use that, I don't know, that anthropological stuff to make a Merleau-Pontian argument. And I was like, well, on Merleau-Ponty's account, this shouldn't be surprising, because like our linguistic habits are as much a habit as our embodied habits. And therefore we should expect to have perceptual habits that come as a result. That doesn't mean that like color is relative, like the spectrum is there. It's just like where we decide to divide the spectrum is kind of contingent, and then therefore is going to have some sort of an impact on how we see the world. I have no idea if that's helpful to what you were asking about, but yeah.
Well, that's the point of Durkheim's version of religion. People won't like it, I don't think, because they don't like the term religion. But if you take the French sociologists, religion is the thing that makes the first demarcation in reality. Prior to religion, which is just group, prior to the group sociality forming, there is no distinctions. So you can call it nothing, you can call it the indefinite, you can call it flux, whatever. There's no distinction, so there's no point in saying this is here, that's there, this is one moment, that was the past moment, there's the future moment. But at some point, there's no meaning in the world, and then all of a sudden, an entire secondary universe of meaning appears. Yep. And I don't think, by the way, that it's coincident with human consciousness. I think it probably happened prior to humans becoming anything like modern humans. But yeah, there it is. A meaning verse as opposed to a lifeless void fluctuating.
Yeah. Just like an unended, indistinguishable flow of stimuli.
And then you have like retroactive causality into there. Like we create the Big Bang by observing it. It didn't exist prior to observation.
But I think it does flow from meaning being the ultimate question of like that. Like, I think language, all these things flow from meaning. I think like it's like a meaning first view or something, like not that you have stimuli that then we add meaning to. I think like we start with meaning as like the type of beings we are that are like, and then these other things I think probably flow from that, if that makes sense.
The counter response is that you are always already physical in order for the meaning to emerge.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, of course, somewhere down the line, but by the time language came along, I think that must have been flowing from meaning making.
Yeah, you need a mouth in order for language to emerge.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go back to like whatever, but like I don't know what the purpose of that would be.
If we didn't have mouths, would language emerge as sound images?
We're talking about language here. I would say language is secondary to the meaning structure.
Yeah,
it's
me
like
too.
It requires it, but you can
That's kind of what I've been trying to say. Yeah.
You can see in like higher primates, elephants, shit like that, they seem to have a nascent meaning structure. And we can look at that and then go, okay, ours is like that, except maxed out. Because language is an exponential accelerator. Because now the signs themselves, they take the place of the referent. You don't actually even need the referent there anymore. And then you can play whatever games you want, creating an entire universe out of basically nothing. So it's on steroids.
Sliding signifiers.
Yeah, and that's what kind of makes humans different. It's a difference in degree, not a difference in kind. Whereas we've been arguing for thousands of years that it's a difference in kind. It's almost impossible you can't bring up this conversation at a barbecue because they're like, my dog looks fucking stupid. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this is a tough barbecue topic.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's well put. I think that's right.
So it's strange because it kept bringing me back to the difference between la langue, language, and the act of speech.